The Eagles' first preseason game is officially in the books, and we learned some good things. We also learned some bad things. A couple players emerged, and a few others had their stock go down. All that with some major injury updates. We'll break it all down and more right here on A to Z Philly. Well, welcome into the show. I am RB, and I lied to you. The game is still going on. As you can see right here, we're recording in the middle of the third quarter, but why? Because Dorian Thompson-Robinson came in the game. The backups are starting to flood in. The backups of the backups are starting to flood in. And honestly, I don't care much about the rest of this game. I saw all I needed to see, and it wasn't DTR. It was the backup star quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember sitting up here last year at the end of the first preseason game. Matter of fact, I remember sitting up here 2 years ago at the end of the first preseason game when Tanner McKee was the third or fourth string quarterback on the roster. He was drafted, I think, in the 6th round, and I saw 2 drives from him, and I said, man, that kid can throw the ball. He can throw a dot. And I remember sitting up here last year at the end of the first preseason game when the Eagles acquired Kenny Pickett. He was the starter in preseason, and I saw Tanner McKee come in, and I said, he should be the backup quarterback for the Eagles. That guy can throw. Nothing against Kenny Pickett. Did his job when he had to come in last year against Washington. But Tanner McKee, ladies and gentlemen, is a superstar backup quarterback. Tanner McKee is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Tanner McKee is better than Dak Prescott. Tanner McKee is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC East. I'm telling you right now, this guy is an absolute superstar in the making. Now, does it matter for the Eagles? Not really. I mean, obviously, if Jalen Hurts goes down, you have a guy who is ready to come in. But there should be 7 to 10 teams in the NFL right now calling the Eagles. I wouldn't even be surprised if Kellen Moore dials up Howie Roseman's number tomorrow morning and says, we drafted a 26-year-old in the 2nd round that stinks. We have no quarterback. We need Tanner McKee, and maybe offers a 3rd-round pick. That's how good he looks right now. The price is going up. And I've seen enough. Tanner McKee is one of the best backup quarterbacks that I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot for a team that watched Nick Foles go and win the Super Bowl. Tanner McKee in the first half of this preseason game, against the Bengals starters, by the way, outplayed Joe Burrow. 14 for 17 in the first half, 193 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, also 1 rushing touchdown. He had a 153 passer rating. This guy is incredible. We saw it at the end of the season last year against the New York Giants. He carved them out even though they stunk. And I said Tanner McKee should be the backup quarterback if necessary. This guy is amazing. He can hit every throw. He's not your standard, current day quarterback that can run all around. He sits in the pocket and he lets it sling. This guy is amazing. He's amazing. Simple as that. He's better than some of the starters in this league. He is a superstar in the making. And if he stays with the Eagles, maybe his agent will try to get him to another team eventually to start. I don't want to see that happen, but if it does, I think the Eagles could actually get a good return for him at this point. I saw everything I needed to see. He should not play again in the preseason. He is so good. And I've been saying it for 2 years now, and people argued with me last year, but enough is enough. I've seen enough. He's the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC East. Now let's talk about another guy who is young and making his way up, who apparently had a quiet training camp so far. That's what all the reporters said. Well, not so quiet tonight. And he is still in the game right now. The game is ongoing, like I said. But at the halftime, Johnny Wilson had 3 catches for 73 yards. And here is one of the plays that he made. And I paused it so you can see him jump over a guy. By the way, they showed the other angle of this. He was getting held on the play. And he just used that pure strength to jump up, battle this defender, and make a big-time catch. He also had a back shoulder catch earlier. Johnny Wilson had his stock go way up tonight. He was balling out, and the Eagles obviously have their top 3 set in AJ, Devontae, and Jahan Dotson, who made a couple plays in the first quarter. But I think Johnny Wilson might be securing his spot as that 4th receiver. Obviously was on the team last year, but after a lot of the reports of him being quiet at camp, he came out and put on a display tonight. Now, the other wide receiver who actually has been making noise at camp and continued that tonight, might have been one of the best players on the field, was Eagles rookie wide receiver, undrafted Darius Cooper. We just talked about him yesterday. He was undrafted out of Tarleton State, had one of the best college seasons in Division I last year. And this guy's been cooking, man. You know, he's 5'11", can play him in the slot. He's a bit strong, you know, for an undersized guy. He can move all around. He made a couple really nice catches on the run today. 7 targets, 6 catches, 82 yards and a touchdown at halftime. And this guy is cooking. He's still in the game. And he had a 20-yard run. That was his longest. But I like the way that he's being used. I like the way that he's not scared of anything. He's fearless out there, running all around, running these crazy route concepts. Now, unfortunately, the duo that we've been calling them in camp, right? The camp winners, the other half of it is not good. Elijah Cooks, the bigger target, right? The 6'4" guy who's, you know, trying to survive his career here and make a name for himself. Elijah Cooks, who's been really good in camp. He said he wanted to make a play every day in camp, and he has. Unfortunately, was carted off in the first half. And now, with all these other receivers having a great day, who knows what the future holds for Elijah Cooks. This actually happened a couple years ago, I think it was, with one of the tight ends. I forget who it was, but somebody was playing really well in camp and then unfortunately got hurt, and that was the end of the road for them. So I hope it's not for Elijah Cooks. I hope he does come back and the injury's not too serious and he gets an opportunity, but it kind of looks bleak at this point after the injury. And staying on the injury, Sidney Brown checked out in the second quarter. He took a hit to his shoulder. Honestly, it was a weird play by Sidney. Don't even think he had to go down the way he did, but he gets hit in the elbow. And when you're thinking about all this in general, right, Sidney Brown may now deal with an injury. Andrew McCuba, who we thought was going to play tonight, and maybe he is now, I don't know, but he was out there for warmups, but he's been dealing with injury, and Vic Fangio didn't sound too confident in him. So all the first team reps have been going to Sidney Brown, and he's been playing pretty good. And now he's dealing with an injury. That's unfortunate. But really the main battle that I came into tonight looking at was the cornerback. And I'm not going to sit here and just, you know, drag Kelee Ringo through the mud. Adoree Jackson missed a couple plays as well, but I think he had 4 tackles in the first half. Kelee Ringo did not look up to par at all tonight. Like, Kelee Ringo had this play right here against Jamar Chase, and I understand Jamar Chase is by far one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's going up against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati starters, but you're going to have to play these guys well, right? I mean, you might get cooked by Jamar Chase a few times, but in this play, Kelee Ringo looked so out of position, and it resulted in Jamar Chase just blowing right by him. I don't even think he got a hand on him. Matter of fact, what was the longest play here for Jamar Chase? 36 yards. This was a 36-yard catch and run on a simple route, and Kelee Ringo just did not look ready for it at all. And he missed a couple plays in the first quarter, missed a couple easy tackles. I'm not saying that, you know, the gig is up on Kelee. I'm not saying he's done. But based on what I saw tonight from both Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson and what we've heard from Vic Fangio, it makes perfect sense as to why Howie Roseman went out a couple days ago and traded for Ja'Cory Bennett. Now, again, they even talked to Howie at halftime. He, you know, gave a lot of insight on where his mind's at and how he wants to keep upgrading the team and not get too attached to certain guys. But based on the draft capital that the Eagles have and the assets that they can dispose right now, they might have to continue looking at cornerback options if this is what we're going to see. And I really want Kelee to win the job. A guy on the rookie contract, comes from that Georgia program, great college player. He's got to show more than he did tonight. Otherwise, that CB2 job is still going to be wide open. That was the main battle we looked at coming into camp, along with the safety, and based on those injuries, they still have to figure this out to continue to keep that dominant defense this year. Lastly, this was a run early in the game. Will Shipley, in my mind, is securing himself as the second running back. A.J. Dillon's that great, like, power strength back who can maybe come in here and there. But Will Shipley showed it in that NFC Championship game when he broke off that run late against Washington. Obviously, the game was out of hand, but Will Shipley's got a lot in the bag. Saquon talked really good about him last year. And this was a great block by Drew Kendall and Tyler Steen. But we're focusing on Tyler Steen because he needs to win that right guard job. He seems to be the breakaway winner right now, but he played really well tonight. So shout out to Tyler Steen. All good things to build on. And Will Shipley broke one off in the first quarter. It was a 38-yard run. And I think Will Shipley is also going to be used out of the backfield catching passes. So something to keep our eyes on there. A couple guys really emerging tonight. Like I said, Jahan Dotson was good in the first quarter. Anai Smith had a crazy punt return. And we talked about Avery Williams. Maybe Anai Smith can end up returning punts for this team. I think that battle is still wide open. We'll see what happens elsewhere. Jahad Campbell made some plays in the first quarter, but also dropped a wide open interception. And Eli Ricks also dropped one right in his chest. So hopefully the Eagles don't miss out on too many of those opportunities. Based on the first preseason game and what we saw from Tanner McKee in the offense tonight, I think we saw everything we needed to see. The current battles are still ongoing, and I think they're going to have to find some solutions here in the next couple weeks. Otherwise, Howie might have to get some help from the outside. Give me all of your thoughts down below in the comment section. What is your main takeaway from this first preseason game? How do you feel about this defense overall? Give me your thoughts down below, and as always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one.